Congratulations. If you are not yet a senior, that's okay, because we are going to share information tonight that will help aid in the orientation of you to this upcoming school year. So I want to welcome all of you to tonight's orientation, and we're going to share, and you'll hear specifically from some members of our senior class. And again, I'm really excited, and we're going to go ahead and jump in. So we'll spend some time this evening just working through and discussing and sharing information about not only the first days of school, but also share information about who we are, because it's really important around knowing and seeing who's going to be working with your child. It's important to us not only to know who you are, but also we know that it's important that you know who we are. So we'll share some broad information, talk about the start of this upcoming school year, some of the expectations that we'll have in place, and you'll hear from members of our senior team, specifically AP Robinson, who leads this class and is very familiar with this group. So I know I jumped right in, and I again want to thank everybody for joining us this evening, those of you who are able to come in person, and also those of you who are streaming online. We're glad that we have the technology and the capability to reach you at home or at work if you're not able to be here. And I want to thank Mr. Thompson for making sure that that's available. So I'm Mr. Brown. I am the recently appointed principal here at Jackson Reed, and I'm really thrilled to be back at Jackson Reed. And I say be back because this is the school in 2008, 2009, where I first started my administrative career in DC Public Schools. So I was a special ed teacher, then I went on to be a special education coordinator, and then moved into administration as an assistant principal here in this building, and then have been an assistant principal at Harding Middle School for 3 years. So I'm very familiar with this feeder pattern, and it's been great seeing some families that I have seen, and students that I've educated growing up, now graduating from college, and just to see how they're doing. So I'm really excited to be back. Most recently, I served as the principal at Eastern High School for the last 6 years. So this is my 7th year now as a principal, and I'm really delighted to be at Jackson Reed, an incredible school. As you all know, you know more than me and better than me how incredible this school is, this community is, the programs, the offerings, but more importantly, the people that make this place a great place. And you see our mission behind us. That's what we live, this is what we breathe, and this is what we're about. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure, young people, that you're on the path to active citizenship. And you're going to hear from individuals that are on staff here that are helping you as you get ready to cross that stage in just a few short months. I say a few, even though it's about 10, but it's going to go extremely quick, and we're extremely proud of all of you for taking the steps necessary to do. Now, there have been 3 things that I've been focused on since being appointed principal, and these are the 3 things that are going to continue throughout this course of the school year. So I just want to share that with you now, as I'll be coming back to it and revisiting it and talking about it as the year goes on. So first and foremost, it's about establishing trust. I know that I'm new, I know that many of you may not know me, I know that I don't know you yet. But what I do know, in the many years I've been an educator since 2005, you want your child to have a great education, and so do I. We want the same thing. And it's a partnership in creating opportunities like this, where families and students can come together, we can share information and dialogue around what it's going to take to make sure that our young people are learning and getting the high school experience that they want. So that's first and foremost, that trust. As an incoming principal, making sure that we have opportunities to establish that. Next, creating a safe learning environment for everybody. We want to make sure that Jackson Reed is a safe place for your son or daughter to come and learn. We also want to make sure it's a safe place for staff to come and work. So there's certain things that we've been focused on throughout the summer, primarily making sure that our physical structure is up to par, and that certain systems are functioning. So there have been a number of walkthroughs, we've been looking at the facilities, making sure that that exterior doors are operating and secure and egress bars are in place, and if they're not, putting in work orders to monitor that. Now it goes far beyond just making sure that things are functional. It also goes into teaching and supporting our young people and making solid decisions around what it takes to be a Jackson Reed Tiger, around what are the expectations, what does it mean to live out our core values, some of them being respect, to have ownership, to show responsibility, not just for your things, but for others. So those are things that we'll be talking through, and I'm going to be leaning on my seniors. Those of you that are seniors here in the room tonight, again, congratulations on this milestone, but you set the example, because everybody's going to be looking to you on what it's like to be a senior in high school. So take that seriously and live it out so that we know that we can all be successful here at Jackson Reed. And finally, improving the academic outcomes for all our students. We know of the great achievements that our students have accomplished here through the support of our teachers, our counselors, our dedicated staff, making sure that students are doing well in their classes. And Jackson Reed has some of the highest outcomes in the city. We want that to continue, so we want to make sure that we're looking at what strategies are working, and then in those pockets where it's not, how can we support, how can we intervene, what can we do differently to make sure that all of our students, regardless if they have a 4.0 GPA, or if they may be struggling to stay on track, to attend school, and get where we know they can be, what are the interventions that we're going to put in place? So that's something that we'll be looking at, and I'll be taking time, assessing, trying to go into classrooms, seeing, talking to teacher leaders, talking to our department chairs, strategizing with the APs around what does instruction look like and how can it be improved. Some folks have shared with me, and many have said, wow, 2,200, 2,500 anticipated students, that's a lot. It's a big job. And it is, but it's one that I am looking forward to and one that is made easier by being supported by some really incredible people. So I wanted to take some time tonight to just make sure you knew of and are aware of individuals who I lean on heavily, individuals that will be communicating with you throughout the year that serve on the leadership team to make Jackson Reed such a great place. So you may have interacted with some of these folks on the screen that I just want to bring to your attention. AP Blunt, as well as AP Minsker, will be leading our 9th grade class. We have Goodman, who will be leading the 10th grade, and Mr. Bargeman, AP Bargeman, former interim principal here, many of you are familiar with, is continuing and taking the helm to lead our 11th grade class. And I'm really excited. At the 12th grade class, we have Anthony, and many of you are familiar with, and you'll hear more from her tonight, AP Robinson. Give a big round of applause for AP Robinson, who's going to be, and has known this group of students since day one. Since day one, so that consistency, that experience, you all are in very good hands under her leadership. Now supported, in addition to the assistant principals, we have a number of directors here. And I want to make sure you all are aware of Dr. Goff, who is new to the Jackson Reed staff and will be leading our Department of Specialized Instruction. And we also have 2 NAF Academy directors, and that is Director Brandon Wims. I'm pleased to announce that he was in the coordinator role earlier and previously and just has been selected our director. So Mr. Wims, along with Ms. McClure. And last but not least, you may see him walking around. Mr. Hall is the Director of Operations and works with the facilities and all of the things that happen behind the scenes to make sure that teaching and learning can happen here at Jackson Reed. So you know who we are, and as I shared, I do not want this to be, and I want you all to realize that this is going to be, and I want you to see this as multiple opportunities to engage. Oh, is that the end? What I'm going to do is bring up AP Goodman because I'd like her to introduce, AP Robinson, because I'd like her to introduce other members of the senior team.
evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Camille Robinson. I am one of your APs this year. Mr. Ron Anthony is the other assistant principal. What you see on the screen is just a breakdown so that you know if your last name, or rather your child's last name, falls between A through L or M through Z, who you're going to be working with. So Mr. Anthony, it will be A through L, easy to remember. His last name is A, so he's got the first half of the alphabet. My last name's in the second half of the alphabet, so I'm the assistant principal for M through Z. Miss Ramona Singletary Robertson is here. You all know her. She has been with us since freshman year as well, so you're very familiar with her. And then also Miss Leticia Martinez, who's our counselor for M through Z. She has been with us for the past year, so this is her second year. Mr. Dominic Burks is still our dean. He's been with us since freshman year also. Ms. Kim Wilson is our social worker. She is enjoying her last day of summer break. She is not due to return to work until tomorrow. And then Ms. Tiara Pearson. Many of you may know her. She has not been with the 12th grade team as the attendance counselor, but she's been at Johnson Reed for several years. So that is the 12th grade team, so you know specifically who is on this team. Okay, next thing, if you just take a moment, and the friends in the virtual world, if you want to type in the chat or text a friend, just thinking about your hopes and dreams for senior year for your student, and if you will just take 1 minute and tell those to your neighbor. Okay, I'm going to share mine. If there's a volunteer that wants to go before me to share theirs, we'll take like 2 volunteers just in the interest of time. Sometimes when children do this, I call on them, but I won't do that to you. Okay, that's fine. I will share mine. So, one of my hopes and dreams for the class of 2023 that this group of people over here is going to help us accomplish is that every single child in the class of 2023 visits the College and Career Center at least one time. So many of them will go several times, but my hope and dream is that everybody goes at least one time. So everyone, tell your children, everyone here, everyone at home watching this live stream, please tell your students that Ms. Levinson is an amazing resource, that they should go visit her to talk about what they're going to do after June of 2023. Just so you know, again, that team you saw on the board, we are here to help all of your hopes and dreams and your children's hopes and dreams for senior year come true. One of the ways that we do that, is we're making sure that our students' social, emotional, and mental health is good to go. And I'm going to pass it back over to Principal Brown so we can talk a little bit about those folks and then lead you into some first day of school stuff.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Robinson. So, mental health is important. We know it's gotten a lot of attention because we recognize that the last few years have been extremely difficult on everybody. And we are, for an adult standpoint, you would believe because we've been, had more experience, we've been able to handle and address it more and have had the tools to deal with it better. So imagine on a young person who has not completely developed and is not fully had all the life experiences we've had. So we recognize that that took a toll on our young people. And we want to let you all know that we have supports here at Jackson Reed to make sure that our students can navigate the high school experience in such a way that they can still do well as they earn their high school diploma. So there are 2 psychologists that we have on staff here. We also have a DBH clinician, DBH meaning Department of Behavioral Health, that is assigned here on site to support our students. along with other resources. Members of our mental health team also include our social workers, and there'll be one, and the name was reviewed with you earlier, and we also have our professional school counselors, all here to provide supports, and if you would like to make a referral for supports, that access is there. So we wanted to make sure that that is out there so that you all know that we're wrapping around our arms around our children so that they can be successful here at Jackson Reed. Now, specifics on the first day, specifically the first 2 days, which is right around the corner, and we're so excited that everybody is set to return. This news is not anything that you all as seniors are not familiar with. The test to return requirement within DCPS, since we've been on this extended break from school, just like last year when it was after spring break or after winter break, the test to return policy, that is still in place when students return for the first day of school. So every student that returns needs to have evidence of a negative COVID test. So that is done to ensure that students coming in test negative. And when I say evidence, it can be a picture. As long as we know if they do not upload, they need to have evidence to come in on the first day of school. So the same process takes place, upload your results so that we'll have it and then students can come right in. If students don't have it, we'll be doing on-site testing. We will be doing on-site testing for our young people who do not test prior to the first day of school. And I also want to put out there and make sure you're aware, and this information is available on the DCPSstrong.com website. So it is available around the testing requirements and the vaccination requirements. So all students are required, unless they have the exemption, to have the COVID-19 vaccine. And if you'd like more information, you can visit that DCPSstrong.com website for details. But those are requirements that we want to make sure everybody's aware, so please take the steps. We will be distributing test kits from the building, so you have an opportunity to complete it, upload it, so that we have a smooth transition on the first day of school. Now, as we want to make sure we have a smooth transition, something that has been put in place on the first day, August 29th, and the second day, August 30th, is a staggered arrival time. I repeat, we'll have a staggered arrival time for the first 2 days of school. Because we anticipate having 2,200 students at Jackson Reed, and because we have to manage the test to return process, and students who do not test, we have to conduct on-site testing, and also because we are in the process of the name changing to some parts of the building and throughout the building, those of you who have seen or came through the atrium section is currently a construction site. So we want to avoid having 2,200 individuals all at one time converge on the atrium, which is why we moved to the staggered arrival time. So if you are a 9th grader, you would come at 8:10, doors will open, you'll get your schedule right after you eat breakfast or choose to eat breakfast, you'll go up to class. 10th graders will come shortly behind you at 9:45, get their schedules, and then go up to class, and then our juniors and seniors will come in. Juniors and seniors will be excused for those first 2 periods, and that is for both Monday and Tuesday. That will allow us to have students come in waves of about 600 at a time. And we can manage it and make sure if the atrium is not done. They've communicated to us that it will be done. However, we want to make sure that if the project runs over, that we can still get everybody in an orderly fashion and reduce some of the overcrowding that may occur. It also allows for our younger students, and seniors, you know what it was like to be a 9th grader in this building. So we want to make sure that some of the nervousness for some of our youngest students is eased, and those 9th graders and 10th graders have time to navigate the building and learn their classrooms and see where they need to go without it being so crowded. That's just for those first 2 days during those first 2 periods. If you do not test on site, if you do not upload your tests prior, we'll be doing on-site testing. The entry point, though, will be at the pool entrance. So it's important, and we ask for everybody to upload their information, make sure it's done in a timely manner. Your name will be on the list. The process will go that much smoother. We'll get you your schedules, and then you can go up to class. If you don't, you'll have to go down to the pool entrance where we have a table set up and desks to conduct the on-site testing. Okay? That is, again, just for those 2 days, and it will allow everybody to come in a more manageable fashion. If you have questions about this, we will be doing Q&A on any topic, a few questions later before the end of the program. At this time, I'm going to get ready to invite back up Ms. Robinson, your assistant principal, who's going to share information related to the rest of the school year.
Thank you. Okay, schedule. The schedule is a little weird. It'll make a lot more sense in about 10 days when students can see theirs and receive theirs in person on the first day of school. So, we are on an A-day, B-day schedule with alternating Friday 1 and Friday 2. What that means is that some of your classes will meet on Mondays, Wednesdays, and the first Friday. And the other classes will meet on Tuesday, Thursday, and the second Friday. This, again, will make more sense when you see it in your matrix schedule. But just so you know, that schedule's a little bit different than it's been. This group, I think we probably had a different schedule every single year. So, with COVID and everything else, it's been different every year. This is just an example of what a schedule may look like. So you will see on this A day, there are 4 classes: algebra, English, chemistry, and history, with lunch in between. We are back to 1 lunch, thank goodness. So everyone has 1 lunch, so everyone can eat with all their friends and not just some of their friends. And then on the B day, you'll have other classes. So this student has film studies, AP, computer science, music, and art. You will also notice that classes are 82 minutes. That's not different than last year. Okay, attendance policy. Attendance policy is a little different. Some things are still the same, like an excused absence is something like you were sick, you were at a doctor's appointment, not you just overslept. But in terms of being at school, you may remember the 80-20 rule, which means that you have to be present 80% of the day to be counted as present for the whole day. So in our case with 4 classes, that means if you miss 1 class, you were considered absent, and all of you are getting the robocall that says your kid didn't show up. DCPS has updated that policy, so now that it's 60% of the day you have to be present. So for us, that is if you were here for 60% of the day, then you're counted as present. Same policies as many of you know that are not new to Jackson Reed. If you have a doctor's appointment or your student needs to leave early, the forms are online. You just go onto our website, fill out the form that says you can pick your kid up early or they're going to arrive late. If they go to the doctor Monday morning, please send a note and bring it to our attendance counselor, who is Ms. Pearson. Those things haven't changed. Attendance policy for unexcused absences. This slide just notes what happens. So after your child is not here for 1 to 3 days, you'll get a call from teachers. You often get a call from attendance counselors also, or school counselors. Day 5, a letter will be sent home. 7 days, again, these are unexcused absences. So this is like, you haven't told us where your kid is, and so then we start getting worried. That's why this policy is in place. You can read day 7 and 10. Letters are sent home. Day 15, a court referral is written. Day 20, we are allowed to withdraw students. We do not just withdraw students, we get in contact with you. We ask, is your child okay? Where have they been? Because we want kids to be in this building learning every single day. And then, of course, if a child misses 31 days, again, unexcused absences. So this is also unexcused absence, not for the day, for this 31-day policy, but from the class. If they miss 31 or more days, they receive a failure of that class due to absence. On the transcript, it will look like an F with parentheses in it, so if you see that, that's what it means. We also refer to it as an FA, or failure due to absence. That means your child has failed the class, they do not get credit for that course. Okay, technology. As you know, we're a one-to-one school. We have devices for every single child to use while they're in school. Children may also use their own devices. That's fine as well, but if they do not have one or choose to not use their personal one, we have one for everyone in the building to use. We will send direct communication through Remind and through the newsletter about device pickup and such, because I'm pretty sure, right, Mr. Thompson, everyone turned their computers in? Is that a true story? Not really a true story. So if they did turn their computers in and don't have one, and a couple slides I'll let you know when they can come pick up a device before school starts. There it is. Okay, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, that's on top. Those are the dates you all can pick up your devices. If you are a 12th grader, between the hours of 1 and 4 on August the 24th. Someone else can tell me what day that is. I think it's
Thursday.
Wednesday, thank you. So next Wednesday, our technology team will be here handing out devices for students who need them. You may.
I think last year it was discouraged that they have their own device, or maybe because of the technology, like my kid has a Mac laptop and it's more of a Microsoft Word here, or I don't know if that's a technology issue.
Yeah, so the question is about technology and compatibility with personal devices in school. Mr. Thompson, do you want to answer that for us, please?
Yeah, the issue is going to be more with accessing the network than any of the programs. Everything that we do is done online, and a lot of personal devices don't have what's called a security certificate, which would have to be added to any non-DCPS device. Basically, it says, hey, I belong here. So if a student comes in and doesn't have an SSL certificate, they just wouldn't be able to go to Google or surf a lot of the internet. But Microsoft and stuff like that, there's no compatibility issues with any of the devices that anybody's going to use.
Helpful.
Will we have to get that security certificate?
Do they have to get a security certificate?
Yeah, a lot of the students who used computers last year already have this security certificate on their device, and they just come to the help desk in the atrium or in the library, and they can have it placed. They would have to do it themselves. It's a liability issue. We just provide them the certificate, and then they put it on.
Yes, yes, you can get help with that.
Texting my husband.
Perfect.
He handles the computer.
Understandable. I saw another hand.
So I'm sorry, I missed, it's not about the IT, but I missed it on the schedule. Is it going to be again the 4 class period, 4 classes, or is it going to be going back to the 8 classes?
Yes, so that's a good question. We can go back because that's a good question. So 4 classes a day, but over the course of the year, your child can have 8 classes. So this student, for example, has algebra, English, chemistry, and history on A days, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday ones. So that's 4 classes. But then also, they have 4 different classes on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday too.
Okay, so that is different from what they did last year,
Yes,
right?
it is.
Okay.
Yep, so within the week, they can have 8 classes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, school lunch update. This is an update that is important because some of you may know that all meals were free during COVID, and also last year, the year following our virtual learning. So this year, students are required to pay for meals. Breakfast and after school will remain free, but lunch will be $3.
Okay.
To fill out a free and reduced lunch form, if that applies to you, please be sure to visit that website. And if you are eligible for that, then of course lunch will also be free. Okay, off-campus lunch. No seniors want to eat school lunch, so this is more applicable to you all. Off-campus lunch. Okay, so seniors, juniors, and sophomores have an opportunity to earn off-campus lunch. Seniors have an opportunity to earn off-campus lunch right now based on the grades they got last year. So you will notice if they have maintained a 2.5 GPA or higher last year, they are allowed to go off-campus with your permission as a parent or guardian, of course. The way off-campus lunch works is that you fill out a form, which I have some to hand out at the end of this. Parents fill out a form. You will then turn that form in person. You may either turn it in today, or you can bring it back to me in the main office next week, or you can wait till the first day of school and have your student bring it to school on the first day of school. After that form is turned in, our IT team, they make sure that your child is in fact eligible, that they have the correct GPA, that they've done all the requirements, like take all their exams over the years that they're supposed to. And then we will send you an email. So this is an important part. Please make sure that the email you put on the form is the one that you actually check. A lot of times kids come to me and say, my mom didn't get the email because mom put a different email. Also, we'll let you know we're sending it, so please make sure that you check your spam too. It doesn't normally go to spam, but on some emails it does. So you will receive an email that says, we got an off-campus lunch form. Is this really your signature? Did you really fill it out? So we know that it's not just your kid filling it out for you. Can they really go to off-campus lunch? You give us the second verification that says, yes, I get permission, and then we allow them to go off-campus for lunch. The way they go, just so you guys know, many juniors had this opportunity last year, but they type in their ID number so that we know when kids are leaving the building. If they are tardy 3 or more times, they will lose their privileges. So if they're tardy returning from lunch, they will lose their off-campus lunch privileges. Okay, that's all I have. I'll be back up at the end too for questions, so if you do have any, just hold them. I don't want my colleague friends who are supposed to be off already not to have to keep staying here at work. So, Mr. Wims and Mrs. McClure are our NAF directors, and they're going to tell you everything you need to know about academies here at Jackson Reed.
First of all, good evening, congratulations, class of 2023. I am Brandon Wims. I am newly appointed NAF director for 4 academies here at Jackson Reed.
Hi everyone, I'm the brand new to Jackson Reed NAF director here, and I'm not new to work, I'm not new to NAF. I worked at Eastern for 4 years before this, and then taught at Coolidge for 10 years before that, working in primarily through college and career. So I love this work, I believe in this work, I've seen the good that this work does, so I'm very excited to be here and serving your students this year. We just really want to acknowledge, in talking to some of our families already, just in the week that I've started, it's become really clear to me that there's a lot of questions and confusions around what is NAF and how do these academies actually work and what do students actually get out of them. And so we're not going to answer all those questions in the couple slides we have tonight because we do want to honor your time, but just know that our emails are up here. Please take a picture of them and follow up if you have individual questions. But you're going to start to get a lot more communication from us. We're planning a big NAF night at the end of September, and we just really want to make sure our families, especially our families who have been in the academies, the Simon Tech or the hospitality academies for these 4 years, that you see with the new opportunities for your students. So we'll try to give an overview for now.
Okay, so here at Jackson Reed, we definitely have 10 different academies. Okay, 3 of those academies are specific to Jackson Reed. We have 8 CTE academies, career technical education. All right. Then out of those 8, we have 7 different NAF pathways, National Academy Foundation. And those are career-themed, small learning communities. So we talk about NAF, think about career-themed learning communities. And this year I'll be the director over hospitality and tourism, finance, digital media, and AV.
And this year I'm seeing the Simon Tech Academies. And these are already NAF academies. The academies that Brandon just mentioned are in the process of becoming NAF academies this year. So they're not yet, but they will be. And these three now already. And so what that means in the short term is that these are 4 courses in a program of study, and students in 9th and 10th grade can enroll in them. So I know I'm talking to seniors, and so this is really directed for parents who are already, students who are already in the academies, because there are 4 courses that we can't fit into a senior year. And then these courses are meant to build on top of each other, they intersect with one another, and they're building up skills each year.
As I stated earlier, we have 10 academies at Jackson Reed. The 3 specific ones are WISP, which is Wilson International Studies Program, which will probably change the name because we're not Wilson anymore. We have JROTC, and many of you are probably looking like, well, I know people that are in JROTC at other schools. Yes, however, we're one of 3 schools in the country that will have a cybersecurity program attached to our JROTC program. However, that is only for incoming freshmen. All right, and that will be sponsored by the FBI. So that's super amazing. And then we have AAA, Academic Athletic Achievement.
And so one of the hallmarks of these NAF academies are the opportunities. So traditionally they are during the summertime, they are paid, they're with these prestigious organizations that are up on the slide. As of last year, they started to introduce what's called AIP, which are these school year internships. And so specifically for seniors that are in academies this year, if your student has not done an internship yet through the academies, they are going to be our priority. Doing the school year internship, there's a lot of steps toward that, but definitely for the summer. If it doesn't work out for the school year, absolutely for the summer, they are our priority. If you want more information on that and you're wondering, hey, is my student qualified for the school year? What's this all about? Please email us and we can look at your student on a case-by-case basis. 120 hours, they're with mentors. Each internship is a little bit different, but it is meant to be geared toward whatever academy they're in. If they're engineering, if they're in infotech, depending on what they're doing, it's meant to align. And then again, focusing on our seniors, we know you all have been through a lot with COVID, lots of changes within the academies themselves. So for our seniors, they are our priority in terms of enrichment, guest speakers, field trips, college tours, college fairs. We have, we're gonna really highlight our clubs. We have a robotics club that our students are largely leading and wanna make sure that they are getting the resources that they deserve. And then my favorite part really is the internship prep, because students aren't, they're not handed these internships. They have to interview for them. They have to apply for them. And so that's really my favorite part, is getting into the weeds of mock interviews and resume editing workshops and just making sure they're feeling really supported. We work really closely with Ms. Levinson. We have plans already on the calendar for this year of some college drives, fast food nights, etc., to make sure that your seniors feel really supported and are walked along each step of the way. That's it, but the questions at the end, but again, please send any questions you have via email too.
And stay tuned for NAF Night, be toward the end of September with a lot more in-depth information.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to talk a bit about the counseling program. I know the one thing that's on every senior mind and definitely parents' mind, because we've gotten probably 1,000 calls about our senior schedules. Schedules will be available the first day of school, paper copy. However, I believe by Monday, you guys should be able to see them via Ask. But I'm sure that's not going to stop a lot of parents from calling us, and we're more than happy to talk to you. So continue as you do. What we offer via the counseling department. I think you probably heard us talk about this still many a time. When we were in school, I'm going to date myself, and probably when many of you were in school, we were called guidance counselors, and we did strictly guidance and academics. But we're called professional school counselors, so we don't only do academic things, we also do individual and group counseling. Sorry, my phone went off. Can't see the screen as much. So please know that our department and our colleagues, we do both individual issues. As you know, many of your kids are probably experiencing a great deal of anxiety now about choosing colleges. We're getting emails about that already, like, Ms. Robertson, Ms. Martinez, what school should I be looking for? Is this a reach school? Is that, is this school even, I have a kid with a 4.99 GPA and he's asking, is UDC and reach, so, that kid, I think we're gonna put in some kind of anxiety, we're going with some high achieving students. So, please know that's something that we're looking into already. Educational and career planning, that's something that we do as well. And we're definitely gonna be partnering with Ms. Livingston, as she's already getting her calendar up. She's uber organized, so she will help someone like me who have a mess of a desk. Work with some of our kids and kind of outlining what those reach schools will be for them, what are some, very attainable schools. So prepping them with academic, or those kids, we have a lot of kids who academically are very sound as well, but want to do EMT things, or fire academies, or police academies, or military. So those type of things we'll be working with them as well. Academic development, some kids who are struggling academically, but still can go to some, pretty good schools, or maybe some prep program after high school. So we'll be working with those kids as well. College preparation and access, again, working with Ms. Livingston, we'll be doing some of those things. We're working with some outside partner programs and connecting those kids. Consultation with parents and staff. That's something that we want to do. One thing that I definitely want to put on everybody's radar, you guys are probably tired of hearing us talk about this, brag sheets. Please, we've been getting some, so please, those of you who's been submitting them since probably June, thank you. But we would also like to get as many of those by September as possible. So that's one bit of consultation, but if you guys need meetings with us to kind of talk through this college process, maybe your first, sometimes it's your last, and you forgot about what you did with the first one. So please don't hesitate to email Ms. Martinez and I will try to set that up for you guys. And another priority for us will be our LOU conversations, or our letter of understandings, which will talk about your students' process of the fall. We need to have that done by late September, so that's another consultation with parents we would do. Information programs and activities. We'll be sending out a lot of notices out to you guys, emails via Naviance, which I think will be up again right into September. Naviance and emails to you guys about all the senior activities and things that will be going on this year. We do crisis interventions. There's a lot of things happen unexpectedly that we will assist you guys with. So don't think any ask is too big. We don't know if we can help, but we definitely try to do that. And student advocacy. I know when I got into this business, that was what my first title as a school counselor was, a student advocate. I think that is my biggest job, is advocating for what's in the best interest of the student. And that's something that Ms. Martinez and I both share. Let me see the screen. And graduate needs to learn how to multitask. Most graduation requirements, you guys probably know this in and out, but just to remind you, every graduate from DCPS schools need 4 credits in English, 4 credits in math, 4 credits in social studies, 4 credits in science, 2 credits of world language, 2 credits career and technology, those 11 CTE classes from what Mr. Williamson spoke about, 1.5 credits of health and PE, which is really 1 credit of PE, and 1 credit of, half a credit of health. You need a 0.5 credit of art, 1.5 credit of electives, and 0.5 credit of music. That's it for me.
Hopefully I figured out how to use this too. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. Ms. Martinez, Leticia Martinez. I'm also on the 12th grade team. I serve students and families with the last name M through Z. Let's see if I can get to. Okay. So, in addition to some of the requirements that Ms. Secretary Robertson spoke about, we also stress the 100 hours of community service. We know that in the past, it has been something that has been waived for some of our other classes that experience barriers and difficulties with reaching those 100 hours during the pandemic. But as far as we know, right now, we're stressing that those 100 hours of community service will be required for graduation. So we would hope that you guys start submitting those in sooner than later. Ms. Victoria Lewis, she's our school counseling administrator support. She will be working with us in the counseling suite this year. We're all going to be together, one team, even though you guys are just with the seniors. If we do have any other students here in other grade levels, all of your counselors will be housed in one of the 105 suites. So we'll all be together, we're one happy family. But Miss Victoria Lewis sits at the front of that suite, and she will be collecting and uploading those community service hours. If you're having a hard time figuring out where you want to do those hours, I know that tomorrow Ms. Goodman and some of the other administrators are organizing a beautification day, so please have your students come out to help us get the building in order so that we're ready for the first day of school. But in addition to that, the counseling suite always welcomes students to come in to really talk about some of your interests and passion, because one of the things that you could do is be really intentional about where you decide to do your community service, and we can help with that selection. We also post a couple of things throughout the school year with opportunities that come up that we get emailed, and I know that Ms. Levinson also does a really good job at sending that out in her weekly note that she sends out. Okay. If you have any questions about community service hours, you guys can email us. Like I said, actually in some of our boards we do post really regularly, so students, please try to make it a habit to come into the counseling suite at least every 2 weeks. Stop by, you'll see opportunities, not only for community service, but also things like dual enrollment, which seniors also have an opportunity to apply for the spring. Some students are already participating in the fall and have been selected for schools like American, Catholic, Howard. So please stop by so that you can learn more about those opportunities. Okay, as far as counselor updates, we have a lot of information that we want to give you, but we won't do that to you, at least not tonight. So some of the updates that the team wanted to share are about corrections, like Ms. Secretary Robinson mentioned. So for our new parents and our new students, what is correction? So that's an opportunity for you as parents and as students to highlight all of the wonderful things that you guys have been doing from 9th grade up until now, okay? So even if you were at a different school, if you know that you participated, you were on the SGA board, or you did some, great wildlife rescue activity in another country, whatever it is that you did that you would like to highlight on that application, that can be very competitive, but it's also an opportunity for you to just put your passion on paper, and things that we could utilize to write for you. We would really, really stress for you guys to be really intentional, take your time on going on there. The good thing is it's not like a one and done thing, so you would go through Clever. A lot of you guys are probably familiar with Clever, and on there you'll find the Naviance app. I think the College and Career Center might be holding some sessions on how to access Naviance later on at some point, but we're happy to help you. Ms. Secretary Robertson and I are familiar with how to use Naviance. So if you go through the Clever app, and once you're on the Naviance app, it's somewhere under the student profile, where it'll ask you to fill out a survey for your school. So it says survey for school, click that, and then you'll find the brag sheet there. So if you find that difficult, and there is only one opportunity for you to do that through one account, so there isn't a separate parent account for the parent brag sheet. You'll just log into your student's account, and then you can do it there, and you can update it as time goes on, but we're really stressing September 10th. If you have a student that is interested in doing early action, early decision, is looking at maybe one of those October 15th deadlines, okay? And that's because as counselors, we have a large caseload, and we understand that students are really stressed and nervous about the schools that they're applying to, but we want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to get everyone's materials over to the school, including that great letter of recommendation over in time. So we're asking for a 30-day turnaround. We're seeing September 10th so that we can have enough time, because we do have, actually it's really popular to have, with our students here typically, who would like to make that October 15th deadline for some of their school classes. Levinson and one of the counselors, so that we can discuss when you would like to submit those materials. Okay, but if you go in now, you can do the brag sheet, you can start your list of schools that you're interested in, so that once we're getting closer to that time, we have all of your materials prepared, ready. Okay. In addition to that, we are also asking that students notify teachers before they request letters of recommendation. Meaning, I know that I have teachers sometimes say, hey, was I supposed to do something? It just popped up and there's a deadline that came. I had no idea. I don't really know the student. I remember them on my roster. So students, please make it a habit to have ongoing conversations with your teachers. It doesn't have to be a teacher that you'll have on your schedule this year that you'll be taking. It could be a class that you took your freshman year. But please become familiar with some of your teachers. Or for new students, talk to your counselors about what teachers you could have conversations about, getting those letters of recommendations, okay? So you will request that in Naviance as well. And lastly, schedule change requests are now available, but we're only accepting hard copy forms. It's easier to track. In the past, we've had parents who would submit one for the student would submit another one via email, and then we have a paper copy, and it's kind of hard to keep track of, especially if there's no date on it, and we want to make sure that you guys get the schedule that, we'll try our best to give you the schedule that you need. I will say that students, the senior class does get priority over certain classes, so if it's something that we know that you need, maybe to be an AP Calculus BC because the school of your choice, of your dreams, is requesting that you take that as a prerequisite, we will do our best to make sure that you're in that class. Okay? Thank you. I think that's all for us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Levinson. As some of you have already been mentioning, I am in the College and Career Center. I'm the College and Career Coordinator. And my job is to help your student plan for and research their post-secondary plans. And that's just a big word for what are you going to do after high school. I'm in room 108A, which is on the first floor near the school bank. Pretty much an open door policy. If your student can just come in and introduce themselves, I'd love to meet them. If we need to have a longer discussion, we can have set up a time that's good for both of us to talk longer. So I work very closely with the 12th grade counselors and also the NAF directors this year, which would be great. Let's see, some things that would be starting up in September are our visits from college admissions representatives. Juniors and seniors are welcome to come to those as long as they get a pass from their teacher. And these are the individuals at the colleges who actually read the DC area applications and are incredibly open to communications directly from students and parents. So it's a really good way to sort of get a more transparent view of what's happening at a particular college, which, as we know, the application process can be a little overwhelming, but these people are extremely helpful and open to communication from prospective students. Let's see, I also wanted to point you to the College and Career section on the Jackson Reed High School website. If you go to jacksonreedhs.org, academics, College and Career Center. So a lot of the things that Ms. Martinez was talking about, there's instructions for how to log on to Naviance, even like a little video, because it is a little tricky. There's instructions for how to find a student brag sheet, tips for researching your college list, career information. So take a look there, and also look out for notice about a meeting that we'll have probably mid-September to go over a lot of these basics more in depth about the college application process and what we'll need from your student to make sure we get all of your documents, school documents, to the colleges in time for their deadlines. So I look forward to working with your student and you this year.
we'll pause, because if there are general questions that you guys have about the College and Career Center or counseling, feel free to we'll take 2 minutes to answer those now. Yes, sir.
On the counseling, is it per request? Like the students have to come to the counseling, or do you have scheduled sessions either with each individual or with groups?
So they're both. So throughout the year, there are some days where there are scheduled sessions, and parents and students will know about those. Like the counselors will have sign-ups. They'll do meetings via Teams for parents who can't come in, or as they've been doing a little bit this week with parents who can come in around scheduling. But also, students are free. For example, if they have a free period or if it's during lunchtime, they are free to come and pop in the counseling suite at any time.
So
They
but
don't need an appointment.
but that still sounds to me, that the student has to come to you for a counseling session. Like you have the opportunities set up for them, but they have to take them. There is not a schedule of counseling that they must attend.
That's correct.
Okay.
Anyone else? Yes.
So I understand that teacher recommendations are requested through Naviance. Is the counselor recommendation also requested through Naviance, or how does that happen?
Well, give me an answer. So the teacher recommendations through Naviance, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the counselor recommendation, the counselors will do those after they have the brag sheet information.
And we're required to write a recommendation for all of our students. So, but the brag sheet, the parent brag sheet, the student brag sheet helps us to just know our students better. You know, for example, I think we have almost 300 students each. Maybe out of those 300, I know 100 very well. And just off the top of my head, I can write a very good recommendation. But some of our parents write so very well in the brag sheet that I've actually picked paragraphs out of that to help write a really in-depth recommendation. Then give some stories that the kids would never tell us. Some of our kids have had experiences that we never knew, and it gives depth to their recommendations. So I just urge you guys, give us some meat in those, because some students won't tell us, like one kid earned an Eagle Scout. I didn't know what the heck an Eagle Scout was, or what it took to get an Eagle Scout. And a parent wrote something about that was really pertinent to what this kid was doing for college. So,
Perfect. So how do you as counselors know what schools and what deadlines?
so all that's in Naviance.
That's in
And we get this
Okay.
report, and that's the other thing too that's important. Please tell your kids, don't surprise us, because sometimes we'll, we try to do it weekly, get a report on like what's due. We know the big dates, October 15th, November 1, November 15th, November 30th. And so we ask the kids to do it 30 days prior. We'll pull up a report and some student may have submitted something, a week before, and we haven't done any of that prep work for them. So we do get these reports that we try to do weekly, depending on where our anxiety levels are. We need one day.
I'll make your job easy, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. The more meat too in the brag sheet, the better the recommendation. Like, it is called a brag sheet because this is the time for you to brag about your kids to brag about themselves, so that their recommendations are awesome, so they get to the colleges and careers that they want to when they leave Jackson Reed. Ms. Levinson.
Well, I just wanted to address the parent that was in the back. So I just wanted to address the question that you had about the scheduled counseling sessions. So if you have a student, we also keep an eye out for students who may be at risk for certain things, whether, we're having a really bad semester, the classes are kind of slipping. We don't wait for those students to come to us, we'll go to them, and we have conversations with you. Or if we get referrals maybe from a teacher about some things that they've noticed, hey, this student has been coming in late, this is not like them, they're sleeping in the back of my class, or they won't engage. We'll also reach out to the students in those cases. But it is their responsibility in terms of, planning their post-secondary, roadmap. So if they want that support from us, they do have to come and set up some time to talk about it.
And I do
And I was thinking the other thing that we're going to do as well, what you might be thinking of, because I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking, you guys may have received those can't think of the call, but where we send out, you sign up for a parent meeting with us. We're gonna do that as well, when we're trying to set up meetings with all of our parents, senior parents this year, if that's kind of what you're thinking.
Well, let me just, I really appreciate your answers and what you're saying, and let me just leave something with you, like on a proactive level. A lot of times the students may not really be able to address their stress unless it's put in front of them. So, you know, you mentioned group counseling. So if somehow you could manage, like, you know, small sessions or per classroom sessions in which you could just give them an opportunity for them to vent, and then they could follow up. You know, because a lot of times, you know, teenagers, they don't necessarily know what they need right away, or they won't seek it. So that's what I was hoping to see. And if it's possible, if you can work it in, that was my ideal that I was hoping for.
Totally understand, and that's something that proactively we definitely wanted to do in the past, and we hadn't had the bandwidth. That is our goal for sure, and I appreciate you mentioning that. Thank you.
So just to address the council letter question, so sometime in September, we'll be creating a old school paper transcript request form, and that is how, so your student will fill that out with the colleges they're applying to, the deadlines that they want to apply for, and when the counselor receives that piece of paper, that will trigger the counselor to know what deadline they need to be ready for to send the council letter and all the other school documents. So it is confusing because it's not requested in the same way as the teacher recommendations.
Thank you, Greg.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I hear a lot of reverting to paper, which for some of us is not great because our kids lose things, et cetera. So I guess, is that necessary? Is there not a way to do that online? And if that's the case, then we really need your support to make sure those get turned in because, yeah, not ideal. I also just, I have two different questions kind of back. I don't know where I missed it, but when you said on the credits to graduate career technology, that somehow skipped my thing. Like, what is that? And what do they have to do to get that? Because that's alarming.
Okay, so the question is around CTE credits, career technology, credits for graduation. I don't know if he wants to speak more to this, about what actually counts as a CTE elective.
So on a transcript, when we do the LOU, on the back it says CLCP, college level career prep classes. So some classes double dip. If your child took AP psychology, that class counts as an elective as well as CLCP. Any AP class also counts in that bucket. So AP will fulfill that. If your kid took something in one of the career academies, that class counts. I think that all the classes in accounting, all the classes in biotech. So sometimes they double dip and they didn't know it.
Okay, it was a category.
Yeah,
It's not heard of.
so up here it was labeled CTE.
Okay.
On our transcript it was labeled CLCP.
Okay.
But yeah,
It's
those
not
are.
a specific separate thing that just
No,
right.
no.
It's sort of related though. So if they have already, I mean, they're on track already with more than enough credits to graduate. We were told in the spring, they still had to take a full load of 8, unless they had an internship or a job. Which again, these kids have a ton of work, especially if they're taking multiple APs and they're applying on their college applications. It would be really helpful for some of, if they can, to have a free period. Can you talk to that, and why is that a requirement, and is there any flexibility on that?
Yeah, I'll leave that one to administration.
Thanks, that's right. Okay, so the question is around students not needing credits, because many of you know that students are given a lot of chances and you only need 24 credits to graduate. So, if students have a job or an internship, they can have a shortened schedule and don't need credits to graduate. they can have a shortened schedule, whether that be come to school later or an early release. If students are over 18, they can also be excused already. So we're going to be working with parents and students to figure out what job or internship they can be doing so that they can have an early release, because Camille Robinson thinks it's important to do those things. And also, I understand that students at senior year have a lot of things going on, all the things you mentioned, figuring out what they're going to do, taking a ton of AP classes, and so adding extra classes just because seems very stressful and causes more anxiety.
Right, but requiring that it's a job and an internship on top of that is like, why is there no flexibility there for kids who actually might need that space to do work with, or their applications or portfolios or whatever?
Correct. Camille Robinson didn't make that rule, DC Public Schools did.
Right.
But again, I'm more than happy to work with you all, parents and students, and sort of the counselors to figure this out, because I am in complete agreement with you.
Thank you.
So that we can be following the law and also doing what's best for kids.
But what's the 18?
If you're 18, they
Yeah.
consider you an adult, and so if you're 18 already, then you just have to tell us that it's okay. Correct. Correct. So some kids are already 18, and there's some, like, my niece is a senior here, she's not 18 until next July. So, I know there's a range. Okay, I'm gonna keep it moving just because in the interest of time. Couple of family engagement things. Here are the ways that we do engage with families, other than having things in person and live streamed like this meeting. There's a parent weekly, or principal's weekly email that goes out to you all that has a ton of information. It goes out on Sunday nights. You've been getting it for years. That is not gonna be any different with the new principal. That's gonna keep going. Our website, Canvas, Remind, I'll talk about Remind a little bit more in a little bit. Naviance often has messages. Have your students check their Naviance often, especially this year. A lot of messages from Ms. Levinson and the College and Career Center will go out through Naviance. There'll be principal coffee throughout the year. We will host a back to school night in September. There are parent-teacher conferences that of course happen 4 times a year at least across the district and including here. Grade level meetings, PTSO meetings, and LSAT meetings. Please also make sure that you are utilizing our social media, so our Twitter, both PTSO and the school Twitter are listed there. Okay, this is the Remind for the class of 2023. You notice it does say Wilson with 2023 in the middle, because when they got here and we started Remind, we were Wilson. So that is not going to change. So I want to say a word about Remind. I use the Remind to communicate mostly to students about things. You are more than welcome to join it. You're going to get things on the Remind like, it's class color day for homecoming week. Make sure you wear X color. You're going to get things like, it's the 23rd of the month. That means we're having a senior celebration. Most of the things that you all need will not come through Remind, but you are more than welcome to join. Anyone can join. It'll all come from me and my 12th grade team. So just a word about that. The things that you all will mostly need to have information about will come through the Principal's Weekly or on the webpage under the class of 2023. PTSO. So our PTSO reps are absolutely awesome and absolutely amazing. I know at least Jason is joining us from the virtual space. So you may know Jason Orlando and Donna Chambers, who have been our PTSO reps since 9th grade. Donna Chambers has moved up to the treasurer of the PTSO, so she's still kind of with us in spirit. But Michelle Heller has graciously joined us as our PTSO rep for 12th grade. So for the class of 2023, Jason Orlando and Michelle Heller, they send out a monthly newsletter. I talk to them at least once a month, but sometimes more than that. And so I give them all the information that is relevant to you. They ask all the questions that are relevant to you. I give them answers. If you have specific questions around PTSO things, please be sure to reach out to either of them. This slide, I think, this is, joining PTSO and giving money. That's, we need money always for things for your kids. Even though you're probably gonna be spending a lot of money this year, you are gonna be spending a lot of money this year, please make sure you're also participating and donating to the PTSO. And again, any questions, please fill those to Michelle Heller and Jason Orlando. And there's someone in the back, and she has information about the PTSO as you guys are exiting as well. There's a donation slide. Go ahead and click right now. Make your donation for PTSO. Okay, quickly about fall sports. Practice I know has already started. If you have questions about fall sports, Coach Ricks, Nadira Ricks is the person to contact. These are just the requirements. You have to have all your physicals, paperwork, your grades have to be, your GPA has to be in good standing. If you need to contact Coach Rick, she is located in Suite A300. Ms. Clemens is our after-school clubs and activities coordinator. Again, you guys are seniors, so you know a lot about the clubs and activities we have here. If you are not a student or your student is not involved in a club or activity, I highly encourage them to do so. We've been telling them this since freshman year. Try something out. Who knows? You might like it. If you don't, it's okay. Cool. It's high school. You don't have to stick with it for forever, but you may end up enjoying it. We have pretty much every club, activity, sport you can think of here. And if there's a club or activity that we don't have, if you just say, hey, Ms. Clemens, I want to start it, she makes it happen. There will be a club and activities fair in mid-September. So if students, again, want to start those new clubs or get involved in a different one, that will be in school in mid-September. These are just some of the clubs, a very small list of the ones that we offer here at Jackson Reed. Okay, I know we've had questions. I'm going to end us here so that people that need to go home and feed their children dinner can do so. I will stick around for a little bit if other people have questions or if you have individual questions that you want us to answer. Thank you so much for coming tonight, people that are here and in our virtual space. Please, please, please remember myself and the 12th grade team. If you need anything, please make sure you are emailing us, coming to see us. Many parents say to me, Camille, am I nagging you if I keep on calling? Keep on emailing. No, you are not. There are 400 and I don't know how many at this point children. And so if you ask me something one week and then ask me again the next week, I would rather you do that than think that my brain is going to remember every single child, every single thing. Thank you again. I hope you'll have a wonderful evening. Please be looking out for information about things like senior portraits. I've already sent that out, but upcoming things for senior year. There are a lot of things that are going to come at you this year more than any other year, as many of you know because you've had seniors here. Thank you so much. Have a good night.